Hollywood just witnessed something nobody saw coming. Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, who once declared she'd absolutely never return to acting, was spotted on a movie set in Pasadena, California. But here's the twist that's sending shockwaves through the entertainment industry. This isn't the triumphant comeback she imagined. According to multiple Hollywood insiders, this is nothing short of a last-ditch attempt to salvage what's left of her crumbling reputation. The film is called Close Personal Friends, an Amazon MGM Studios production starring legitimate A-listers like Lily Collins, Brie Larson, and Jack Quaid. And Meghan? She's playing herself. Yes, you read that right. After 8 years away from acting, the best role she could book is literally just being Meghan Markle. The irony is almost too perfect to believe. But wait, it gets even more fascinating. The plot of this film revolves around two couples, one famous and one not, who meet during a trip to Santa Barbara and become friends. Sound familiar? It's practically ripped from Meghan's own playbook, a meta-commentary on her desperate attempts to infiltrate Hollywood's elite circles after ditching royal life. Sources close to the production told The Sun that this was Meghan's way of gently putting her toe back in the water and seeing how she enjoys being back on set. Translation? She's testing whether Hollywood will even have her back after years of spectacular failures. Everyone involved has been sworn to secrecy about her involvement, which tells you everything you need to know about how Amazon MGM really feels about this casting choice. The timing couldn't be more suspect. This announcement dropped the exact same week that Page Six ran a devastating expose declaring that Hollywood is absolutely sick of Harry and Meghan. Multiple sources confirmed there's no appetite left for them in Los Angeles, and that they've worn through any goodwill they ever had. Talk about terrible timing, or maybe, just maybe, this was a calculated distraction from that brutal assessment. Remember when Meghan sat down with Variety back in 2022 and said she was done with acting? Her exact words were, "I guess never say never, but my intention is to absolutely not." The way she phrased it reeked of condescension, like acting was somehow beneath her now that she'd snagged a prince. Fast forward to today, and here she is, crawling back to the same industry she dismissed, accepting a minor cameo role where she literally just plays herself. This is what desperation looks like when every other venture has collapsed spectacularly. The Spotify podcast? Cancelled. The American Riviera orchard jam business? A laughingstock. The Netflix cooking show? Bombing so hard it won't see a third season. So now, with nowhere else to turn, Meghan's back on set, cameras rolling, pretending this was always the plan. But behind those carefully staged photos of her looking relaxed and happy, sources are spilling absolutely devastating truths about what really happened during filming. And trust me, the reality is nothing like the PR spin People magazine is trying to sell you. While Meghan smiled for cameras on the Close Personal Friends set, Hollywood's power players were delivering their verdict behind closed doors, and it's absolutely savage. Page Six dropped a bombshell report that sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. A Hollywood source confirmed what many have been whispering for months. There is not only no appetite left for Harry and Meghan in Los Angeles, but they've also worn through any goodwill they had. Let that sink in for a moment. This isn't some random blogger with an opinion. These are industry insiders who work alongside A-listers every single day. Another source put it even more bluntly. People are sick of them. The act has gotten stale. 3 years ago, networks and streaming platforms were falling over themselves to sign the Sussexes. Today, they can barely get their calls returned. The shine has worn off. The novelty has expired, and Hollywood has moved on to the next shiny object. Here's where it gets really interesting. Netflix, the streaming giant that once handed Harry and Meghan a reported $100 million multi-year deal, recently downgraded their partnership to a basic first-look agreement. That's industry speak for "we're keeping you around, but we're not investing real money anymore." The message is crystal clear. Netflix gave them a chance. They failed to deliver content anyone wanted to watch, and now they're being quietly phased out. But the professional carnage doesn't stop there. Multiple sources are speaking on record about the couple's business skills, or rather, their complete lack thereof. One insider told Page Six that Harry and Meghan are hopeless in professional settings. Hopeless. That's not a word you hear thrown around lightly in Hollywood, where even the most difficult personalities can succeed if they deliver results. The assessment of Meghan specifically is even more damning. Sources describe her as dismissive and convinced she's smarter than everyone in the room. Another insider revealed that Meghan controls everything in their partnership while Harry simply enables her worst impulses. The picture being painted is of a woman who refuses to take advice, who believes her royal title makes her untouchable, and who has burned through every professional relationship she's ever had. One source summed it up perfectly. They're both poor decision makers. They change their minds frequently. That's a death sentence in an industry built on contracts, commitments, and careful planning. You can't build a sustainable career when nobody trusts you to follow through on your promises. And the timing of this acting announcement? Classic Meghan playbook. It dropped the exact same day Prince William kicked off his 5-day Earthshot Prize tour in Brazil, while the future King of England was barefoot on Copacabana Beach playing volleyball with disadvantaged youth and championing environmental causes. Meghan was making sure the headlines stayed focused on her. It's the same move she's pulled time and time again. Upstage the working royals during their biggest moments, steal the spotlight, make everything about Meghan. But wait until you hear what actually happens when Harry walks into a business meeting. The stories are legendary, and not in a good way. If you want to understand why Hollywood has given up on Prince Harry, you need to hear about the Netflix meeting. This story has become absolutely legendary in entertainment circles, and it perfectly encapsulates everything wrong with how the Sussexes conduct business. Picture this. You're a Netflix executive. You've carved out time in your incredibly busy schedule to meet with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex about their $100 million deal. You're expecting professionalism. You're expecting punctuality. You're expecting basic courtesy. What do you get instead? Prince Harry shows up late. Not 5 minutes late. Not fashionably late. Actually late to a meeting with top executives at one of the world's biggest streaming platforms. But here's where it gets truly unbelievable. Once Harry finally graces everyone with his presence, he doesn't apologize for his tardiness. He doesn't immediately dive into business to make up for lost time. No, this 40-something-year-old prince looks at a Netflix executive and asks for a cup of hot chocolate. Not coffee, not tea, not water. Hot chocolate. His go-to beverage, apparently. The drink of choice for a middle-aged man who once served in the military and now fancies himself a serious Hollywood producer. Sources say the request sent staffers into an absolute panic. They didn't have hot chocolate on hand, because why would they? This is a professional business meeting, not a children's birthday party. But when a prince asks for something, people scramble. So employees rushed around trying to find hot chocolate while executives sat there watching this circus unfold. The Spotify story is somehow even worse. When Harry had meetings at Spotify headquarters, his hot chocolate obsession became such a known issue that staffers would prepare for it in advance. One source revealed that Spotify creatives actually pitched Harry an idea. What if he reviewed different hot chocolates every week while chatting with a different celebrity friend? They genuinely thought his beverage fixation could be turned into content. Harry and his team actually considered the proposal before ultimately passing on it. Let that sink in. The grandson of Queen Elizabeth, a man who grew up in palaces and attended the finest schools, was seriously contemplating a show where he taste tests hot chocolate. The pitch meeting for that concept must have been absolutely surreal. Industry veterans are stunned by this behavior. In Hollywood, when you walk into a high-stakes meeting, you accept whatever beverage is offered. Coffee, tea, water, sparkling water, room temperature water. You smile, you say thank you, and you get down to business. You don't make demands. You don't inconvenience busy executives. You certainly don't show up late and then ask someone to go fetch you a children's drink. One source perfectly captured the absurdity. If I show up late to a meeting, I'm not asking for anything special. I'm apologizing and getting straight to work. But Harry lives in his own little world where normal rules don't apply. The hot chocolate incident became such a talking point that people started speculating. Why didn't Meghan add a bespoke hot chocolate blend to her American Riviera Orchard product line? The answer seems obvious. She's embarrassed by him. But Harry's childish behavior is nothing compared to the nightmare stories about working with Meghan herself. Behind the carefully crafted PR narrative of Meghan being sweet and down-to-earth on the close personal friends set, former employees are telling a very different story, and it's absolutely chilling. The Hollywood Reporter, one of the entertainment industry's most respected trade publications, published an explosive expose that sent shockwaves through Los Angeles. The headline practically wrote itself. Former staffers have formed what they're calling the Sussex Survivors Club. Yes, you read that correctly. People who've worked for Harry and Meghan have banded together like trauma survivors seeking support after escaping a toxic situation. The stories these former employees are sharing paint a disturbing picture. Sources told The Hollywood Reporter that everyone is terrified of Meghan. Not uncomfortable, not frustrated, terrified. That's the word multiple people independently use to describe working for the Duchess of Sussex. One source didn't mince words. She belittles people. She doesn't take advice. They're both poor decision makers. They change their minds frequently. Harry is a very charming person with no airs at all, but he's very much an enabler, and she's just terrible. But it gets darker. Meghan has reportedly earned the in-house nickname Duchess Difficult thanks to her penchant for noisy tantrums and angry 5 a.m. emails. Imagine waking up at dawn to find your phone buzzing with a furious message from your boss, tearing into you about something that could have waited until normal business hours. That's allegedly the reality for people in Meghan's orbit. One particularly damning account described her management style in vivid detail. She marches around like a dictator in high heels, fuming and barking orders. I've watched her reduce grown men to tears. Let that image settle in your mind. Grown men, professionals with years of experience, allegedly brought to tears by Meghan's verbal attacks. The staff exodus tells its own story. Josh Kettler, hired as their chief of staff, quit after just 3 months on the job. 3 months. That's barely enough time to learn where the coffee machine is, let alone build a meaningful working relationship. Before him, there was Toya Holness, their global press secretary, Christine Weil-Schirmer, their PR head, Samantha Cohen, Meghan's top aide and private secretary, Catherine State-Laurent, who lasted 1 year as head of their Archwell charity. The list goes on and on. This pattern didn't start in California. Back in 2018, while Meghan was still a working royal, Buckingham Palace launched an official investigation into allegations that she'd engaged in bullying behavior toward 2 royal aides. The results of that inquiry were never publicly released, but the fact that the palace felt compelled to investigate it all speaks volumes. Meghan denounced the investigation as a calculated smear campaign. But when multiple people across multiple years in multiple countries all tell similar stories about your behavior, maybe the problem isn't everyone else. And now, on the set of Close Personal Friends, cast and crew members are getting their first taste of working with Meghan Markle, the real Meghan Markle, not the one described in carefully planted People magazine quotes. The question everyone in Hollywood is asking: how long until someone from this production joins the Sussex Survivors Club? People magazine ran a glowing account of Meghan's first day back on set, and if you believe their carefully crafted narrative, everything was sunshine and rainbows, but insiders say that's pure fiction, and the reality tells a completely different story. The official PR line: Meghan was on set today. She seemed very relaxed and happy. She introduced herself to everyone and was very sweet and down to earth. It's the kind of quote that feels focus grouped and sanitized, designed to counteract months of negative press about Duchess difficult. But here's what they're not telling you. Meghan has a small part in this film. Small. Not a supporting role, not a featured cameo, a small part where she plays herself. After 8 years away from acting, after walking away from a successful run on Suits, after marrying into the British royal family and positioning herself as too important for Hollywood, this is what she's been reduced to. A tiny role in someone else's movie where she doesn't even have to act because she's literally just playing Meghan Markle. This isn't the starring vehicle her massive ego expected. This isn't the grand Hollywood return where she proves everyone wrong and shows the world she's a serious actress. This is her accepting scraps from the table, grateful that anyone in Hollywood will work with her at all. When outlets reached out to Amazon MGM Studios for comment about Meghan's participation, the studio declined. That silence is deafening. If they were proud to have the Duchess of Sussex in their production, they'd be shouting it from the rooftops. Instead, they're keeping quiet, probably hoping her involvement doesn't tank the film before it even gets released. Let's talk about the actual cast list. Lily Collins, star of Emily in Paris, one of Netflix's biggest hits. Brie Larson, Academy Award winner and Marvel superhero. Jack Quaid, breakout star from The Boys. Henry Golding, who stole scenes in Crazy Rich Asians. These are legitimate working actors with proven track records and devoted fan bases. And then there's Meghan, playing herself in a cameo nobody asked for. The film's plot makes this whole situation even more uncomfortable. It's about a regular couple who befriend a celebrity couple during a trip to Santa Barbara, and things get awkward when boundaries blur. The uncomfortable parallel to Meghan's own failed attempts to integrate into Hollywood's elite circles isn't lost on anyone. She's essentially playing out her real-life rejection in a fictional movie. Here's another fascinating detail. Which actors are playing the famous couple versus the regular couple? Is Lily Collins the celebrity or the normal person? Is Brie Larson the star or the starstruck fan? And where exactly does Meghan fit into this dynamic? The casting creates more questions than answers. But the most telling omission? Prince Harry is nowhere near this production. If this film is truly about celebrity couples befriending normal couples, why isn't Harry involved? The answer seems obvious. Nobody wants him there. Even Meghan apparently couldn't convince producers that her husband would be an asset to the project. And the real reason Meghan accepted this humiliating cameo role reveals just how desperate their situation has truly become. This acting cameo isn't a career choice, it's an emergency escape hatch from a burning building of failed ventures. Let's walk through the wreckage of everything Meghan has touched in the past few years, because the list is staggering. First up, Spotify. The podcast deal that was supposed to establish Meghan as a media powerhouse ended in humiliation. After producing a grand total of 12 episodes of Archetypes, Spotify pulled the plug. The streaming giant that had signed them to a reported $20 million deal quietly let them go. Industry insiders whispered that Spotify executives felt the Sussexes didn't deliver enough content to justify the massive investment. Then there's American Riviera Orchard, Meghan's lifestyle brand that was supposed to compete with Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop. Instead, it became a punchline. She's selling jam, $64 jam that nobody's buying. Strawberry preserves in pretty jars that scream desperation rather than luxury. Even Oprah's endorsement on her holiday gift guide couldn't generate real interest. When Oprah Winfrey herself can't make your product cool, you know you're in trouble. The Netflix cooking show with Love, Meghan landed with a thud so loud it echoed through Hollywood. Insiders told multiple outlets that the show is not the success they wanted it to be. Translation: it bombed. Viewership numbers were disappointing. critical reception was lukewarm at best, and sources say it's highly unlikely to be renewed for a third season. Meghan positioned herself as the next Martha Stewart, but audiences simply weren't interested in watching her arrange flowers and bake bread in her Montecito mansion. The Lemonada Media podcast that was supposed to launch this year delayed indefinitely until 2025. Reports suggest Meghan's greediness and inability to focus on one project at a time caused the postponement. She wants everything all at once, and it's backfiring spectacularly. In Touch magazine published a brutal assessment that captured Hollywood's sentiment perfectly. She's become a total joke. Industry sources revealed that real stars have worked hard for their success, and the impression is that hard work isn't Meghan's thing. She expects instant gratification, immediate success, and universal adoration, without putting in the years of grinding that actual celebrities endured. Even her connection to Oprah, once considered her golden ticket in Hollywood, hasn't saved her. People now look at Oprah's association with Meghan and question the talk show legend's judgment. The same woman who gave platform to the racism allegations during that infamous interview is now reduced to promoting Meghan's overpriced jam in her gift guide. The mighty have fallen. Here's the devastating truth. Every single venture Meghan has launched since leaving royal life has either failed outright or dramatically underperformed. The podcast? Cancelled. The lifestyle brand? Mocked. The cooking show? Flopping. The second podcast? Delayed. Her memoir deal? Still unwritten years later. The children's book? Forgotten immediately after publication. So when a tiny cameo role in someone else's movie comes along, where she doesn't even have to pretend to be someone else, of course she takes it. She has no other options left. And the timing of this announcement reveals yet another calculated move to sabotage the royal family. Meghan's acting announcement dropped the exact day Prince William began his historic Brazil trip, and anyone who thinks that's a coincidence hasn't been paying attention to the Sussex playbook. Prince William launched a 5-day tour of Brazil to present his Earthshot Prize, the environmental award he founded to champion innovative solutions to climate challenges. This wasn't just another royal appearance. This was William positioning himself as a global leader on one of the most pressing issues of our time. He was meeting with officials at the United Nations Annual Climate Conference, presenting awards to groundbreaking environmental innovators, and using his platform to make a genuine difference. The images from his trip tell the story of a future king who understands modern monarchy. William barefoot on Copacabana Beach, his pants rolled up, his sleeves pushed back, playing volleyball with children from disadvantaged communities. These weren't staged photo opportunities. This was William getting down and dirty, literally in the sand, connecting with kids from the Levante Institute, a program that transforms young lives through sports. He wasn't worried about messing up his hair or getting his clothes dirty. He was fully present, fully engaged, showing the world what authentic royal service looks like. The Brazilian Olympian who runs the program praised his genuine interest and willingness to participate, rather than just observe. That's the kind of leadership that builds respect and admiration. And then, right on cue, Meghan's team leaked the acting comeback story. Same day, same news cycle. Maximum disruption to William's carefully planned tour. This is straight from the Sussex Sabotage Handbook. Remember when William and Catherine traveled to Boston for the Earthshot Prize ceremony? Harry and Meghan dropped the trailer for their Netflix documentary the exact same day, stealing headlines and overshadowing the environmental awards. Remember Remembrance Day when Harry was excluded from official royal events? He arranged a paparazzi-documented cemetery visit with Meghan, turning a solemn day of honoring fallen soldiers into a photo opportunity for themselves. The pattern is undeniable. Whenever William and Catherine have a major event, whenever the working royals are doing something meaningful and newsworthy, Harry and Meghan conveniently have an announcement that drops at precisely the same moment. Harry's team even announced his trip to Canada for veteran events the same week William was in Brazil. When called out on the suspicious timing, Harry's spokesman actually blamed their lack of security for the announcement schedule. The excuse was absurd. They claimed that because Harry doesn't have the same security protection as working royals, they have to truncate the period between planning events and announcing them. But here's the thing. Harry could have announced his Canada trip literally any other day of the year. Tuesday, Wednesday, next month, last month. The choice to announce it during William's Brazil tour wasn't about security, it was about spite. This is what pettiness looks like when you're still bitter about being the spare instead of the heir. This is what happens when you build your entire identity around competing with your brother instead of carving out your own meaningful path. But William and Catherine aren't the only ones Meghan has betrayed with her Hollywood desperation. Remember when Meghan Markle swore on the record that she would never ever return to acting? The receipts tell a devastating story of lies, manipulation, and a complete inability to keep her word. Let's go back to 2022. Meghan sat down with Variety magazine for what was supposed to be a major profile piece. The interviewer asked her directly if she would ever consider going back to acting. Meghan's response, "No, I'm done. I guess never say never, but my intention is to absolutely not. Read that quote again carefully. It's not just a simple no, it's dripping with condescension. The phrasing suggests that acting is somehow beneath her now, something she's outgrown and moved past. She needed to make it clear that she had no intention of returning to that chapter of her life. She was bigger than Hollywood now. She was a duchess. She was building empires and changing the world. But here's what makes that quote even more telling. She shows zero gratitude for what acting gave her. No acknowledgement that her role on Suits provided her with financial security, public recognition, and ultimately the platform that caught Prince Harry's attention. No appreciation for the crew members who worked alongside her for 7 seasons. No respect for the craft that paid her bills for years. Instead, the impression she gave was clear. Acting was just a means to an end, a stepping stone, a tool she used to climb the ladder until she could snag something better. And once she had her prince, once she had her royal title, she could discard acting like yesterday's trash. The Cut article from around the same time period painted an even more revealing picture. The headline literally announced that Meghan was ready for her next act. Everything with her is an act, a performance, a carefully constructed narrative designed to generate attention and sympathy. In that interview, she went out of her way to say she never wanted to be the lady who lunches. She positioned herself as someone with serious ambitions, someone who was going to build meaningful businesses and create important content. The lady who lunches lifestyle was for other people, not for Meghan Markle, changemaker and humanitarian. Fast forward to reality. What has Meghan been doing for the past several years? Lunching. Literally lunching with friends, attending charity galas in designer gowns, posing for paparazzi at celebrity events, and trying desperately to infiltrate the same Hollywood circles she once claimed to be above. The hypocrisy is stunning. She looked down her nose at acting, declared herself done with that phase of her life, positioned herself as someone focused on serious entrepreneurial ventures, and then proceeded to fail at literally everything she attempted. Every business collapsed. Every content deal underperformed. Every brand partnership fizzled out. And now here she is, crawling back to Hollywood with her tail between her legs, begging for a cameo role where she plays herself because apparently nobody trusts her to actually act anymore. The broken promises don't just reveal dishonesty, they reveal something far more troubling about Meghan's character. She'll say whatever sounds good in the moment, whatever makes her look noble and evolved, without any intention of actually following through. And Prince Harry's private feelings about this acting return reveal shocking cracks in their supposedly united front. Page 6 is reporting something explosive, and it reveals massive cracks forming in the Sussex united front. Prince Harry is absolutely furious about Meghan's social media oversharing, and this acting comeback is only making things exponentially worse. Sources close to the couple revealed that Harry loathes Meghan pushing their home life all over social media. He's not just uncomfortable with it, he loathes it. That's a strong word, especially when you're talking about your own wife's behavior. Harry is reportedly really uncomfortable with her constant Instagram content, the behind-the-scenes videos, the carefully staged glimpses into their Montecito mansion. Here's where it gets really interesting. Meghan recently posted videos that accidentally showed their children's faces. She had to quickly go back and edit the footage to blur out Archie and Lilibet after people started screenshotting and sharing the clips. This is the same woman who has spent years claiming her children need privacy and protection from the public eye. The irony is absolutely staggering. Harry has been giving interviews about keeping kids off social media and protecting young people from digital dangers. He literally appeared on a podcast discussing online safety for children while his wife is at home posting videos that accidentally reveal their own kids to her 4 million Instagram followers. Harry positioned himself as some kind of expert on digital well-being and children's internet safety. Meanwhile, Meghan is inching closer and closer to a full reveal of Archie and Lilibet, probably calculating how much publicity she can generate from finally showing the world what her children look like. But here's the really pathetic part. If Harry genuinely cared about stopping this behavior, he would handle it privately. He would sit Meghan down behind closed doors and put his foot down. He would exercise whatever leverage he has left in their relationship and demand that she respect his wishes regarding their children's privacy. Instead, he's leaking his frustrations to tabloids. Page 6, TMZ, Radar Online. The once proud Prince of Wales, grandson of Queen Elizabeth, is now calling gossip columnists to complain about his wife. Let that image sink in. This is what his life has become. Royal commentators have noted that Meghan has completely emasculated Harry. The hot chocolate-demanding man-child, who shows up late to Netflix meetings, has zero power in his own household. She makes the decisions. She controls the narrative. She determines what gets posted, what gets shared, and how their family is presented to the world. Harry just goes along with it, enabler that he is, occasionally leaking his discontent to friendly media outlets. Once upon a time, Harry was a royal prince with security details and military credentials, He partied in Vegas, flew helicopters, and lived a life of genuine privilege and purpose. Now he's reduced to pathetic leaks about being unhappy with his wife's Instagram strategy. And this acting comeback means more publicity, more media attention, more photographers following them around, and inevitably more content for Meghan to post, more opportunities for her to accidentally show the kids, more chances for her to overshare their private life for public consumption. Harry can leak to page 6 all he wants, but until he actually does something about it, he's just proving that he's exactly what sources claim, a charming enabler with no backbone and no control over his own life. Meghan Markle playing herself in a movie is the most accidentally honest casting in Hollywood history, because let's be real, she's always acting. Every single moment of her life is a performance designed for maximum attention and validation. British television hosts called it out perfectly during their coverage of this acting comeback. One of them said, "I think she's still an actress now judging by most of her behaviors." Exactly. Life for Meghan is one perpetual performance, and the cameras never stop rolling in her mind, whether she's curtsying mockingly at the late Queen, wiping away invisible tears at public events, or clutching Harry's hand in a death grip during royal appearances. It's all theater. The irony of this film's plot is almost too perfect. Close Personal Friends is about a celebrity couple befriending a normal couple during a trip to Santa Barbara, and things get awkward when boundaries blur. This is literally Meghan's life story. She thought marrying Harry would make her Diana 2.0, the beloved princess who captured hearts worldwide. She believed Hollywood's A-list would embrace her, that she'd effortlessly glide into their exclusive circles and become American royalty. Reality delivered a brutal wake-up call. She's not Diana, she's Fergie. Sarah Ferguson, 2.0, headed straight for the bargain bin at QVC. The parallels are stunning when you actually look at them. Both women married into the royal family. Both women did children's books. Both women launched podcasts. Both women created lifestyle content. Both women collaborated with Oprah Winfrey. Both women faced spectacular falls from royal grace. And both women ended up hawking products nobody wants to buy. American Riviera Orchard is basically Sarah Ferguson's failed ventures with a California filter and better lighting. Meghan's selling overpriced jam while Fergie once peddled weight loss programs and tea sets. Different products, same desperation, identical outcome, failure. Royal commentators have been saying it for months. When those Sussex titles finally get stripped away, and sources say it's a matter of when, not if, Meghan will have nothing left. No royal connection, no Hollywood credibility, no successful businesses, just a fading memory of someone who almost had it all and threw it away because she couldn't stop performing long enough to be genuine. Her so-called next act has exhausted everyone who has to watch it. One commentator summed it up perfectly. "Girl, we are tired of your next act. There's an act all the time. Oh my goodness, it's exhausting." And it truly is. The constant reinventions, the endless pivots, the new projects announced with great fanfare before quietly disappearing. It never stops. This cameo role-playing herself is Meghan admitting she has nowhere else to go. Hollywood is sick of her. The royals are done with her. The public is over her. Netflix is quietly backing away. American Riviera Orchard is a punchline. The podcasts keep getting canceled. Even Oprah's endorsement can't save her products. So here's the question burning through Hollywood and royal circles alike. When those Sussex titles finally get stripped away, when the acting roles dry up completely, when American Riviera Orchard shuts down, when Netflix pulls the plug for good, who exactly will Meghan Markle be? Because for someone who spent her entire life performing, playing herself might be the one role she's completely incapable of pulling off. And that right there is the real tragedy of this desperate Hollywood comeback nobody asked for. What's your take on Meghan's acting return? Desperate career move or calculated publicity stunt? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe, because trust me, this Sussex drama is far from over. The next chapter is coming, and you absolutely won't believe what happens next.